This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
The X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. If you'd like to send me an email, xzone at xzoneradiotv.com, on all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV, our website, xzoneradiotv.com, and for all the programming we have available for you, 724, 365 on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net. My guest this hour is Rosalyn Berne, and her life changed profoundly 6 years ago when she fell off a horse. Since then, she has written 2 books on human-equine communication and has a growing clientele as an equine empath, facilitating communication, awareness, and healing between horses and their human companions. As a university professor and scholar, Rosalyn explores the creative spaces between the realms of technology, science, and myth, and between the human and non-human worlds. She writes and teaches about engineering and technology in society and the ethical implications of interspecies communication for technological development. Rosalyn is the author of 2 academic books, a science fiction novel, several sci-fi short stories, and many academic papers. Her book, When the Horse Whisperer recounts the emergence of her gift to communicate with horses. Its sequel, Walking to Beauty, is an autobiographical exploration of Rosalyn's spiritual journey, including her encounters with a mare named Beauty and a stallion named Guano. Joining me now is Rosalyn Berne. Her website is www.rosalynberne.com. And Rosalyn, welcome to the X-Zone.
Thank you, Rob, for having me on your show.
Yeah, it's great having you, Rosalyn. You are a very interesting lady. You have a PhD, You're a professor in the field of science, technology, and society at the University of Virginia. And you use your perceptual gifts and empathic intuition in working with horses and their human companions. Have you always been a horse lover?
Well, yes, but I wasn't of a background where we were. I could be actually ride them. I mean, I grew up in inner city Philadelphia, and I probably was about 11 when my parents sent me to a summer camp, and there were horses there, and that's when I fell in love with them.
My goodness.
Camp was over. I went home to the inner city, and we didn't have the funds for anything involving horses. That's the end of that, except for my fantasy life.
And yet here you are today, the lady that you are, writing about horses and working with people and horses. Did you ever imagine in your wildest dreams that you would be doing what you're doing today?
Well, absolutely not. I don't know where I would have come up with such a thing. I was, busy teaching, doing my scholarship
Sure.
writing, and suddenly this happened. It was quite unpredictable, life-changing, but not something I had imagined. No, Rob, I can't say I did.
Is there a bond between the equine and the humans?
Well, yes. I believe that's absolutely the case, and I believe that there's a bond between most domesticated animals and humans. In some ways, it almost seems as if, I'm going to venture to say on a soul level, these animals have agreed to be with us and support our lives. Just think about all the ways that horses and dogs in particular have made our lives possible.
It seems that there is a working bond, but there is something that has yet to be identified in this relationship that we share with certain animals.
I think that's right, and I think that we're coming into a time when it's unfolding. More and more people are recognizing and talking about the profound bond that we have. Dogs and horses are being put into service to help us to heal and be well, not just to protect us and work for us, but actually to be companions to us. And it really does make a huge difference in people's recovery and state of life.
Rosalyn, please stand by. We've got to take a commercial break. Exonation Rosalyn Berne is our special guest, www.rosalynberne.com. And Rosalyn and I will be back on the other side of this break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
Hello, I'm Pete Marsh. With my daughter Justina, we will be presenting the new radio show, Too Good to Be True. If something seems too good to be true, it usually is. But with the help of Justina's amazing gifts, we're going to gain insight into questions that don't yet have complete answers. Have you wondered who built Stonehenge and for what reason? Why are crop circles found in the same region as Stonehenge and elsewhere? Are crop circles a hoax, or are they created with technologies that we have little knowledge of? Who built the pyramids in Egypt and also in other countries? How and why were they built? Was the Titanic switched with the Britannic as part of a gigantic insurance fraud, or for more insidious reasons? What caused the Tunguska event when trees were flattened over an 800 square mile area in Siberia? Will the new insights be too good to be true? Well, that will depend on what you are prepared to believe. Please join us as we start on this journey together. For more information on Too Good to Be True, visit www.xzbn.net.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
She comes down from Yellow Mountain on a dark flat land she rides on a pony she named Wildfire, with a whirlwind by her side on a cold Nebraska night.
Exonation, Rosalyn Berne is our special guest, www.rosalynberne.com. And Rosalyn, what happened in Costa Rica when you fell off a horse into a river?
Yeah, well, it was pretty much of a shock. I was with a tour group. I was the last to cross the River Arenal, and all of a sudden I just was under the water, and I could see the water rushing over my head, and it wasn't terribly deep, but maybe. At any rate, when I climbed out of the water, the horse looked back at me with trepidation, and anybody would have been able to interpret his facial expression. He was pretty horrified, and I just patted him on the butt, and his name was Teton. I said, "Don't worry, Teton, I'm fine." So we rested on the other side of the river. I got back on the horse to ride back with the group to end our day, and I started hearing him, and it was sort of like inside of my own inner ear somehow. And he said, "Nobody's ever fallen off of me before. I can't believe that happened. Are you okay? Am I going to be in trouble? My job is to take care of people, and I didn't take care of you. I'm going to be in trouble, aren't I?" And I heard it word for word, and I responded, "I'm okay, Teton. I told you I'm fine. That was my fault, not yours. I must have slipped. Of course you won't be in trouble. Don't worry about me. I'm fine." So we almost were back. I could see the barn up ahead. I did not know any of the people that I was with. They were all tourists, and the owner of this place, her name was Debbie. I could see the barn, and then I hear Teton say, "You can actually hear me, can't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I can understand and hear you." He said, "Well, I need your help then. Would you please help me?" And I said, "Of course I'll help you. What can I do?" He said, "Please tell Debbie she's wrong about me. I don't need to go back for more training. I just need a break now and then." So I waited till everybody else left. I got off of my horse, Teton, put my tack away, went up to Debbie, this owner, and I introduced myself and said, "I have a message for you from your horse." And, she gave me a funny look. Of course. I told her what he said, and then I left and went back to my cabin. And that evening at dinner, she came up to me in the community dining facility, and she said, I need for you to explain to me how you know about that. I said, I don't understand what you're asking me. And she said, how do you know about what Teton told you? There's no way you could possibly know that for the last 2 weeks, the stableman and I have been talking about sending him back for more training. How do you know? And that's where it began, Rob.
Wow.
That's where it began.
Let me ask you this, and please don't take this question the wrong way, but did you ever think that you might have hit your head or had a concussion or some other kind of damage that, made you think you might have been hearing this horse talk to you?
Well, it didn't occur to me because I didn't feel any pain. And actually, what's so fascinating to me about the experience is something did happen when I fell off that horse. Because when I stood up, I was laughing for joy.
Wow.
And I was alone there, Rob. I was alone in Costa Rica. I was there to finish writing my sci-fi novel, but I was also grieving the end of a 30-year marriage, and I just needed some time alone. Mm-hmm. And so to have this sort of shock, sort of this jolt of joy flowing from me, I was laughing for joy. And so, yeah, something happened, but it wasn't a concussion. It was some kind of shift. And I don't understand it scientifically, but as an experience, I can say I had never quite felt that way before.
Did you have any communication with any other horse in Costa Rica?
Well, so here's what happened. So I told Debbie, well, I found out because Teton told me. And so then she came to me the next morning at breakfast. I was leaving that day, and she said, could you please talk to another horse because I'm having a lot of trouble with her, and maybe you can figure it out. And I explained to her, I don't talk to horses. That just happened. I can't do anything about this for you. I'm so sorry. And she persisted. She said, could you please try? It's really important to me. This is my favorite horse. It's the first horse we got when we came here from the U.S. We might have to get rid of her. I don't know what else to do. Could you please try? So, lo and behold, I went down to the stable, and I was able to hear her. And she was asking to be put, she actually shared a vision of a field, and she was asking to be left there alone for a while because she said she needed to take care of something, and she kept showing me her belly. Well, they did put her in that field alone. Of course, I went home, and then I got a call a few weeks later from Debbie saying, I just want you to know, it turns out that Gitana, that horse, was pregnant, but there was something wrong with the fetus, and she lost the baby in the pasture. So what happened was that the horse had been acting up because she needed to focus on her unborn, and she wanted to be left alone to do that because she knew that something was wrong. So that was really sort of an eye-opener for me to get that phone call, and that's when I realized that a gift had come, and I needed to take it seriously.
Do you think it's possible that you had this gift before, but for some reason that this event, falling off the horse in Costa Rica, was the catalyst? I
think so, because when I reflect on my early years as a child, and I write about this in the sequel, Waking to Beauty, I reflect on it. It's like, well, yes, because when I was 3 years old, as my mother tells it, I was talking to what we would refer to as ghosts, and telling my grandparents and my mother and father about beings that were in my grandparents' home, and they didn't even know the existence of these people, and then later on found out, yes, the woman died in the basement in the fire, as you say. And so, I think that since childhood there has been a capacity to sort of reach beyond the immediate realm of this dimension, if you want to call it, or this immediate physical world that we have. And over the years, I had those experiences. They tended to go away as I got older, but I think that maybe I did come to this life with them, with that capacity. Yes.
I remember as a child watching a show called Mr. Ed, and I'm just wondering if there was any similarity between your connection with these horses as there was with Wilbur and Mr. Ed.
I loved that show, but you're dating me. I ran home to make sure I watched every episode episode of Mr. Ed, and I don't know why it spoke to me so deeply. It wasn't just a comedy for me. I was, I don't know, 9 years old. I actually really got it about the relationship between the way they portrayed it in the show. Wilbur moved his mouth, you know. I mean, Mr. Ed moved his mouth and said, Wilbur, and then actually talk. But how else can you do it for a TV show? How else can you actually show that there's communication? When I am communicating with a horse, it's totally silent. It's something that we're doing. I get sensations and images, and I hear words, and then I interpret what I'm hearing for the person I'm working with.
Wow.
But if you recall, Wilbur he wanted to keep it a secret. He was embarrassed and ashamed about it because clearly back in those days, I suppose, we would have been seen as not well.
You are a scientist. You are an educator. How do you explain, or is there any explanation for how it is possible for a human and a horse to communicate?
Well, truth in advertising, I do teach in an engineering school, but I teach ethics, and I'm trained actually as in the humanities, in religious studies. However, that being said, I study engineers and I study scientists, and so I have just a little bit of understanding of the scientific method and how you go about understanding what is. I don't know. I've talked to some cognitive scientists about this. I've talked to biologists about this. It could be that there is a part of the brain that interprets before words are formed into language. And I'm wondering if somehow we connect in that way. We're learning much, much more about how species communicate across the boundaries of species. We're learning that about plants. We're learning about animals, about fungi, especially that fungus communicates with the roots of trees and the mother tree, which determines from the fungus, like almost a computer network, where to send nutrients. And so more and more we understand that it's possible to cross the boundaries of species and communicate. Horses, though, they don't have language, but we must possibly share something in our cerebral cortex, something in or somewhere in the brain, maybe not there, that allows us to make this connection. And I think that's the way humans have survived for all these millions of years, connected to nature, because we have learned to listen and understand.
How many horses would you say you have communicated with since the establishment of this gift?
Okay, so I've gone back to that place in Costa Rica called Leaves and Lizards. Probably I've gone back 12 times since then and communicated with all of their horses. In fact, the first book I wrote, When the Horses Whisper, is mostly about my conversations with the horses there. So that's about 14 in that herd. And then probably I now have met with about 25 people in Virginia who've brought me to their farms to help them. And then last year, my husband and I took a trip to Kentucky and met some retired racehorses, and I was able to communicate with them. So where are we? Up there close to 50 now.
Yeah, at least. Like, what is the most common thing horses communicate to you about?
Well, that's also the sad part about this work. Most of the horses I've spoken with clearly live in private homes, and what happens is horses are bought and sold fairly readily. So someone will decide that it's not quite the right horse for their interest. Maybe they want a better jumper or a better dressage horse or a better racehorse, and they're bought and sold fairly regularly. What most times when I'm brought on and something's wrong, the horse often is depressed or they're confused because they had bonded with someone else and were suddenly sold and moved to a new place, and they don't understand what happened. And they want me to help them know if they did something wrong and why they'd been moved.
That is sad.
Yes, it's very sad.
Rosalyn, stand by, dear. You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. We'll be right back. Exo Nation, Rosalyn Berne is our very special guest. www.rosalynberne.com. And Rosalyn and I will be back on the other side of this news break as we continue this fascinating conversation about talking to horses, communications with horses and species. I believe in this because there is so much evidence, so many people saying that they've communicated with their dogs, with other animals, horses. Let's continue our investigation into this very interesting topic on the other side of this break as we continue from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.
Are you curious? Do you want to learn more about how the world works and have fun at the same time? Study coincidences with me, Dr. Bernie Beitman, MD, on my Connecting with Coincidence radio show here on the XZBN network. Listen to Jungians theorize, statisticians randomize, true believers evangelize, while I categorize. I dance to the rhythm of coincidences. People who experience me see more of them. Maybe something on the show matches a thought in your mind. Let us know. Expand your mind to the weirdness happening around you. Synchronicity spoken here, there, and everywhere. For more information, put Connecting with Coincidence in your search engine and find my website, my social media sites, and my blog.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Mnemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created mnemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com.
Hello, I'm Justina Marsh, and with my dad Pete, we are going to present a new show called Too Good to Be True. Together, we are aiming to discover more truths about this world and beyond. Do you have unanswered questions about the world? Do you ever wonder about aliens, conspiracy theories, or the universe? There are many shows discussing subjects such as pyramids or UFOs, but we want to relay this information based on our own research, including from spiritual means. Hopefully, listeners will be helped with their own beliefs and will appreciate the psychic insights that add to the previous research and information. We both look forward to sharing this insight and beginning this journey with our listeners. Visit xzbn.net for more information about when to listen.
First thing
Exonation, Rosalyn Berne is our special guest for this hour, www.rosalynberne.com. You've never had a horse of your own, I understand, until recently. Tell me about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's just say back to that summer camp experience. I was desperate for a horse of my own and very, very much wanted one, but it wasn't possible. And then fast forward, let's say 40 plus years, more, closer to 50 plus years, and I am in Richmond, Virginia at a horse rescue facility where I've been asked to come to help a horse named Ruby who was actually slated to be slaughtered. And they rescued her, and she was not responding to their care. And so I was there to try to help Ruby, and she was actually very frightening, biting and snipping. And while there, I was talking to a horse named Rain, and up behind me walks a horse named Raven. And I'm trying to focus on Rain, but Raven is right behind me. Her head's right at my shoulder, and I hear her say, "I'm the horse you've been waiting for all these years. Take me home, and I will help you deepen your work."
Whoa.
And I thought, what? Home? I live in a city house in a tight neighborhood where you can throw a stone at the next house. Where am I supposed to put a horse?
Yeah.
And so I said, "I heard you, Raven, but I'm busy trying to talk to Rain." And I got in the car to go home, and I could not get her out of my heart and out of my mind. It was like Raven had come with me. Well, I mentioned it to my husband, and next thing you know, I'm going to get Raven. And we put her in a facility, like a boarding facility I found that was about, 45-minute drive from home. And so I went to see Raven every weekend for about 3 months. And then I thought, no, I need for you to live with me. We need to be with each other every day. So we sold our home and we moved to the country. And I now live on a horse farm with Raven and guess who else? Ruby, the horse that needed help, and one more named Nash. And this is my new life.
Wow.
In my late 50s, by the way, I have shifted entirely from my urban existence and no familiarity with horses to mucking pastures and feeding and cleaning hooves and you name it. Here I am. And my husband very much has joined me in this new venture.
So tell me, what are your horses and you talk about during the day?
Well, now this is the problem. You know that story about the cobbler's children without shoes?
Yes.
Yeah. So I have a full-time job. Plus I have a farm to take care of, meals to prepare, laundry to do. I am really busy.
Yes.
And I have not had conversations with my horses with one exception. And I wouldn't quite call it a conversation, but one day I stood by the fence and I went into a very deep meditation. And one by one, those horses came and stood right with me at the fence. And it was quite an amazing experience. So there is a sense of connection and understanding. But I'm not hearing them the way I hear horses when I go and I'm hired to go help people with their horses. It's different. And, sort of like, I don't quite know why, except that I haven't taken the time in that way or I don't know, but I'm not hearing them the way I hear other horses.
That's rather strange, isn't it?
Well, I feel guilty about it. I feel like I'm not allowing them to be with me in the way that is possible because I'm so task-oriented when I get down there. When I go to other people's farms, I sit in meditation for a while, and then I let the horse know my purpose in being there. And then I go into what I call a zone where I can open up and feel and sense into the horse. And then they start talking. Sometimes it takes a little while because they don't believe that it's possible that a human can understand them. But once they figure it out, especially if one starts and the others figure it out, they get talkative. But I'm always sort of in a hurry. It's like I get down to the barn, I get their feed, I'm very task oriented and I feel guilty. I feel like I owe them that kind of communicative relationship. And I'm working on it. Summer gets a little quieter and I think I owe it to them and me to understand more deeply about them.
Is it possible that they understand how busy you are and they, in their own loving way, are giving you the space that they believe in their hearts of hearts you need?
They are such generous beings, and they are heart-centered beings. They pump like 10 times more blood per minute than we do. They're absolutely heart-centered beings, and I would not be surprised. But as you were saying that, I did have one memory. Okay. My friend from Costa Rica, well, now we're friends, the one who owns that facility, she came to visit last fall, and she said to me one day, I think Ruby has something she needs to say to you. And I thought, oh, really? And so she said, could you just take the time to be with her? And I will say that Ruby let me know that she had been a children's horse in a facility with lots of kids, and something happened where a child must have fallen, gotten hurt, and there was a lot of drama and yelling and screaming, and then Ruby was summarily dismissed, and suddenly her life was changed. And so that I did get from her about last fall. That I did. But as you say, she was asking to be heard. And she needed it, and I stopped for that time and really keyed in. But they are so aware and so sensitive about us, human beings. They pick up every little emotion, and I think you're absolutely right that they're giving me this space because I'm very focused on my daily busy life, like many of us are, and their invitation is just to sit with them at times, which I've done.
I know we have 3 little pups. Well, they're not pups, but we call them our little kids. My wife and I, all our children are grown. They've left the nest and they have families of their own. So now we have these 3 little girls, and I know that they are super sensitive. I know they are super intelligent. I know that they communicate through their eyes, and there's many times where I can actually feel them trying to give me a message. So I believe that the bond between humans and our animal friends or animal, I call them children, is stronger than we realize. And I think that our arrogance at times doesn't allow us to open up our hearts and say, what would you like to tell me?
I am right with you. And I think in addition to the arrogance, because we have elevated ourselves as a species to somehow be better and different than all the other species.
But wait a sec. Let me ask you this. Are we better? They don't cause wars. No. We do.
This is the belief. This is the belief system that's in our society. It's. I don't agree with it.
Neither do I. We're on the same page.
Oh, yeah. No. In fact, I mean, my goodness, if anything, these creatures are self-sacrificing to support us, to help us get through. Life is difficult, if you probably agree with that too. How much help they give us. How much help they give. Here's this, since you have three girls at home. Let me tell you my dog story.
Okay.
About, 20 years ago, I'm sitting downstairs of a 3-story house, and I'm having some emotion about something, and I am silently crying. There's no whimpering, there's no sound, there's just tears coming down my eyes. And I hear our dog, who's a half Rottweiler, half lab, 102 pounds, get up from where he's laying, and I hear his little paws on the floor coming all the way down the steps to the first floor, walks right over to me, puts his head on my lap, and looks at me as if to say, "Are you okay?"
Yeah.
So there are lots of stories. Many people have stories about the dogs that touch their hearts and are, as you say, in their eyes saying, "Can you understand me? I'm trying to share something." And I feel like there's just this little thin barrier, and that we're so preoccupied in our lives with our physical sensations that we haven't opened to the sensation that allows us to connect. And I do think it is a birthright for all of us that for some reason I came with it, but I think it's possible for all of us to open to that, and that's our evolution. I think that's the next step in our evolution.
I've been doing this show now for 26 years. 20 guests a week, 5 nights a week. And I get to talk to the most wonderful people in the world, like yourself. People who have open hearts, open minds. And I have come to talk to people who believe in extraterrestrials. They've seen Bigfoot. They've communicated with Bigfoot. And every spectrum of the paranormal, parapsychology realm that you would like to imagine. But there's one thing I've realized over all these years. Animals have something that we humans need and need desperately. And we can learn a major lesson from all our animals. They have unconditional love, where we humans have yet to incorporate unconditional love in our day-to-day life. And I think that this is one of the major things that our animals are trying to get us to understand, that as a species, in order for us to evolve to the point where they are. You see, I put animals at the top of the pole, and we humans are at the bottom. That to get where they are, we have to understand that existence is all about love. That they share with us the gift of unconditional love. And we need to learn this. And we need to spread this.
Oh my, this is exactly right. And one thing that I have learned, because these horses are teaching me, they are my teachers, is that when we get our hands on some animals, we break them. You know, the expression break the horse. We literally break their spirits.
Yes,
we do it with dogs. We do it with horses. And when we break their spirits, their love is still there, but they're broken and they're in pain. And so they can't always be as giving as they would in nature be had we not done what we had done. So I have met angry dogs, and I have met heartbroken, depressed horses who are not able to give as they would normally give because of what we've done to them. And that's the crisis. That's the tragedy. And boy, are you really speaking to my heart right now. Thank you so much for saying that.
I love animals. I truly love animals. I've had the pleasure of working with the SPCA as the Director of Communications. I've seen animals in every situation possible. And I've seen the love, the dedication, and the human effort, thanks to the volunteers that work at the SPCA and other shelters around the country, the inspectors, the enforcement officers, that truly love what they do. And I've seen the love and the emotional tie that can be formed instantaneously between a cat, a dog, a rabbit, a horse, whatever. It is there. And I think, thanks to people like you, that this message will be getting across, and hopefully people will look for this communication, this connection, the next time they have the opportunity of meeting an animal. You and I will be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies.
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows.
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well, now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X,
Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
True healing must address 4 levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, for us to live joyful and productive lives. We tend to treat 3 of the 4, leaving the spiritual languishing. If you're tired of the same dysfunctional patterns cropping up in your life, Soul Balancing is for you. Trixie Phelps, owner and founder of Soul Balancing, is a naturally gifted energy healer trained in numerous esoteric forms, including shamanism. Trixie has created a powerful modality that safely and effectively clears your energetic field. A Soul Balancing session can remove interference, heal trauma, and restore your hope. Contact Trixie for a life-changing long-distance session today, www.soulbalancing.world. There's a legend shared by many indigenous cultures of a time when the nations were cast to the 4 corners of the world. Each nation was given a body of sacred knowledge that held a different portion of the truth to preserve. True reality could not be known until all the nations reunited, combining the information. If a single one was missing, the world could not be reborn and darkness would prevail. The Science of Magic Radio is dedicated to reuniting the sacred knowledge. With the understanding, none of us has all the answers, but together we can open new perceptions and possibilities. Through our combined vision, the world can be reborn into a place where darkness no longer prevails. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic daily on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, xzbn.net, or visit us at thescienceofmagic.net.
Exonation, like I like to ask you to be part of a solution instead of being part of the problem that so many people would rather do. If you can, donate your time to your local shelter, to the SPCA. If you're able to put a little bit of change into their little boxes that they have throughout your community. If you see an animal being abused, call up the local SPCA or the local pound or the local shelter. And don't forget, law enforcement will also act on animal cruelty. To be cruel to an animal is against the law. They share this planet just as we do, and they deserve rights just like we have. So, once again, if you're going to adopt an animal, if you're thinking of going to adopt an animal, give it serious consideration. Make sure you have the financial means to take care of the animal, that you realize that this animal that you're bringing into your home is becoming part of your family. And if you're just buying an animal on a whim because you saw a nice little movie about a clownfish, or if you've seen a movie about all these Dalmatians, think twice. It's a lifetime commitment that you're making. It's just like adopting a child, a human child, bringing that human into your home. You have responsibilities. So please think twice, and don't forget that the people at your local shelter, the SPCA, deserve a vote of thanks throughout your community. Exonation Rosalyn Berne is our special guest. Her website is rosalynberne.com, and that's ROSLYNBERNE. ALYNBERNE.com. And Rosalyn, it's great having you here on the show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Your stories are just proof of what I believe in my heart of hearts to be the case. And, once again, we talk about communicating with other species. You watch all these sci-fi movies and you hear these, you go on TV and watch the shows about UFOs, extraterrestrials, Bigfoot. And here we are with these wonderful animals that share this planet. We don't try to communicate with them. So if we can't communicate with those that share this planet with us, how are we going to communicate with those who don't?
This is exactly the point I was trying to make to a proposal I wrote for the Library of Congress, and I think it was just a little bit too strange, but I was making the argument because, they were looking at astrobiology, and they were looking at, all kind, and I thought, well, we're spending a lot of money to go out there to see if there's life out there. Are we prepared? Really? Do we understand about communication across the boundaries of species? Because this is a great place to practice, is right here. Let's start with our animals. Yeah. We can move up to our plants, even the wild birds. Ever try to imitate a bird call and then have the bird respond to you? I mean, it is such a communicative place, this earth, and we've limited ourselves to our species. I absolutely agree with you. Let's practice at home first.
Animals are brought into hospitals these days to help people. Certain hospitals, and I know that the SPCA has animals that they bring into the hospitals that interact with patients. Do your horses help people heal, and if so, how?
Oh, I've had 3 fairly profound experiences with that here, with friends who've come, one condition or another, and I've said, well, let's see if we can sit with the horses and see what happens. One person came who had been diagnosed with lymphoma, and he was very sad about facing cancer and going through all these treatments. And so we went, he and his wife and my husband and I, and we sat in the round pen, which is just diameter 50 feet, and we put Raven in there, and that we put some chairs in, and we sat there, and we just sat very, very quietly. And Raven went right up to that man, right up to him, and she spent, I would say about 45 minutes with her nose rubbing around his chin and his neck and his head and his back. And that man's wife watched in tears. She said, "What is happening? I've never seen anything like this." And I don't know what she was doing, but I can't help but believe it was supporting him back towards wellness. Now, I don't want to claim, that, miracle horse cures man. I don't think that's what happened, but I think that she was supporting him in his quest for wellness, somehow around the energy he was carrying. And he's fine now, by the way. The treatment was successful and he's thriving. Another case is a friend of mine who was going through a terrible, terrible emotional crisis where her own children stopped talking with her at all, excommunicated her. And she was beside herself, and she felt probably, I wanted not too strong to say suicidal. And I said, let's go in with the horses and see what happens. And we went in and we sat, and the first horse just started bucking and kicking and running and was going nuts. And I said, I'm sorry to tell you, but take a deep breath and know that horse is mirroring what's happening with you, because horses do that. They mirror our energy. And after a while, finally one came a little closer and stood by her as she sobbed and released and sobbed and released. Well, fast forward 9 months, this friend came back last week, and we went into the field, and because she wanted another chance to be with these horses. And I said, let's just go into their space this time rather than bring them into an enclosed space. Let's go into their space, and if it's right, they'll come. And so we put our chairs under the oak tree, and they're about 100 feet away. And the more she got quiet, the closer they got. And I finally asked her, what is your heart's desire? And she said, I don't know where this is coming from, but it's to be here, now, in the present moment. So I invited her to do that while looking at the horses. Lo and behold, here comes Raven walking right up to her. Raven put her nose in this woman's hands and stood with her head there in the woman's hands for a few minutes. And the woman said that it was an incredible sense of being absolutely in the present moment. It was like Raven said, if this is what you want, I will help you do this. And so, yes, these horses are ready. Not only are they loving, but they're not judging of us. I don't have to think, oh, I gained weight this week, or I don't look so good. They could care less.
Exactly.
All they do is check in with our hearts to see where we are, and they mimic it so they can become mirrors, and it helps us to understand ourselves more deeply.
Once again, I can use the example of my 3 girls. They are so tuned into the way my wife and I feel. If I've had a bad day at work, or if I'm just plain tired, I get home at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I sit down in my chair in the living room, and I just turn on one light. And I guess I sit there and meditate. And the 3 girls will come up and they'll just kind of make themselves comfy on me. And all 3 will put their little heads on my lap and look up at me with those beautiful eyes. And, it makes the world all right.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Yeah. And that's what they want for you. Because you give them such love and care. They want to do the same for you. It's a lovely thing, isn't it? That we can be there for each other.
It certainly is. It certainly is. So, what is next for you and your gift, and how are you going to share your gift with the world?
Oh my goodness! Well, I'm struggling with this. I'm not wanting to have to make my living that way because I'm so afraid something will happen to it if I have to depend on it for my living. So, but I don't know. I'm waiting to see how things unfold. I'm going to get another book out called Walking with Raven because she's teaching me an awful lot about myself. And I'm going to open the opportunity for people who would like to come and spend time with us doing their own inner work. I feel like I'm being led to help people do that, and probably offer some workshops at some point. And then it won't be very long from now I'll be able to retire, and that way there won't be so much pressure and I can just do what feels right.
Is there a difference the way that your horses treat adults compared to the way that they interact with children?
Well, Ruby loves children in particular, so she's just very tuned into children. And I would also say that I've seen my son has a unfortunate mental illness and sometimes is in a very difficult state of mind. And I've seen them react to him as if wanting to support him. So I would say not necessarily. Some animals, some horses are more inclined to some people than the other, but it's not a judgment. It's almost as if it's just, who am I most able to support at this time? That's almost what it feels like. Yeah.
Rosalyn, we have about a minute left. What are your final thoughts for the X-Zone Nation tonight? What is the message that you would like to share with them, as well as any message you think that your girls would like to share with the X-Zone Nation?
So my message is that I think that this happening to me creates a model and a safe space for other people to realize that they have it in themselves on some level to feel and see and connect with other beings. I just want people to know that, they're not strange and there's nothing wrong, and they don't have to hide it. If they sense this and feel it, allow it to come through, because it is our natural state. It's who we are. And what the horse is, it's 2 mares, 2 girls and a guy. They're trying to help humans come back into balance, is what I'm getting. They're trying to help us come back into a sense of being here and full and in the present moment as much as possible, because we've gotten so preoccupied and so agitated. I think they would like us just to join them in that state of being.
Rosalyn Berne, I want to thank you ever so much for sharing your time with us and your insight and your love for your horses or your children. And please, don't be a stranger. Come back and visit us again. The door is always open. X-Zone Nation, if you'd like to contact Rosalyn, her website is www.rosalynberne.com. I'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.